So today I just wanted to take a quick look at the 2006 animated film Monster House. So this is definitely one of those cutesy little films that I'm sure most of us are all very well familiar with. It pretty much just does feature a man who has pretty much just been guarding his home. He seems like a pretty much just kind of like the neighborhood crank or the jerk, obviously known as Mr. Nebbercracker. He does pass away early on, and the house is left alone. So it isn't long before the neighborhood children discover that it's not actually him that was being the jerk just because he thought it was fun, but I guess you could say it's more the wife's spirit who has encompassed the house, and she's pretty much just eats everything, essentially. Things that are left in the yard, or just kind of kidnaps and eats people that come into the yard. Why? I really don't know. For some, obviously this is early animation. Obviously animation's come a lot further now. It's definitely a lot more developed. I know for the longest time in the early days of digital animation, for the longest time people would not animate human characters because supposedly they were difficult to create. If I'm remembering correctly, the Incredibles were the first animated humanoid characters, but Monster House is definitely one of those earlier films, and maybe it's just me or maybe it's the style of the film, but the characters, they do look very stiff and very plasticky. I don't know if that's just kind of the style of the film, or maybe it was just a limit of the technology at the time. I'm really not too sure on that, but for some reason that just kind of bothers me a little bit. But you know, it's definitely a good story. It does hold the interest, but you know, not one of my favorites as far as the animated films. I really can't name why. I'm hoping someday it will grow on me. Obviously just very recently I've watched it for the second time. I have not seen this since pretty much when it first let out, so pretty much have not seen it since 2006. So there's been a decent gap of time there, but who knows? I am willing to give the film a few more chances just to see if it will grow on me. I mean, it's not a bad story. I just really don't know what it is about it that just doesn't click with me, but you know, definitely a well-told story. You do have the quirks and the humor, so the characters themselves, they do come off as believable human characters, so it's not really too much of a stretch that they're asking you to believe here. But yeah, I mean, in my opinion, it's not really too much of a kid film either. I mean, there's just a bit of the humor in there that's just in there on the sly. There's references to cough syrup as well as other things. There's also the issue with the two boys pissing in the bottle of soda, which is just kind of gross that they would just stake out that hardcore enough to just not leave the room and just urinate in an empty bottle. But you know, this one really doesn't strike me as being much of a kid film. Obviously the Shrek movies are a lot more obvious as being, I guess you could say, adult targeted, but yeah, I mean, this one definitely has its moments where it kind of becomes questionable as, is this really a kid's film? What's going on here? But yeah, I mean, like I said, it's definitely an enjoyable film. Pretty much just I guess you could say a basic plot, you know, evil house, kids are trying to take it down. Of course, they do succeed in their end goal, but you know, for me the interest is, and I guess maybe I just brushed over that, is, you know, how on earth did the wife's spirit just wind up possessing this house, and how did she just wind up becoming so darned evil? But you know, that's just my own curiosity there. But yeah, just super quick thoughts on the movie for today. I really don't have too much more to add, but that is all, and I will talk to you guys later.